Hey guys, what's up? Scottish Duck here once again. Right, are you all having a nice Sunday? Are you outside enjoying the lovely sunshine? Or are you in front of the computer all day watching videos about guys who are talking about video games while they avoid the sun? Either way, we're talking about Shin Megami Tensei today. Now, I don't know what I'm going to call this video. Am I going to call it Shin Megami Tensei Rocks, or am I going to call it Review / Thoughts on? Whatever I decide on, right, I'm basically just going to... I beat, a Shin Megami Tensei game last night. I want to review it, talk about it and that, but I also want to talk about the series in general and all the games I've got for it and that. So, with that said, as we usually do with these videos, I'll talk about how I got into this series, shall I? It started off when a friend of mine got for my birthday Persona 4 and Persona 3, okay? You should know there's loads of Shin Megami Tensei games out there, okay? It's an RPG by Atlas. I really should explain this stuff right off the bat. It's been about for years, ever since like the old NES days and stuff. And they're basically dungeon crawler RPGs that are hard as shit. And there's been loads of spin-offs over the years, such most famously, actually, this spin-off became more famous than the actual main series, the Persona games, you know? And yeah, Persona 4 was the first one I played, which is definitely acclaimed to be one the finest in the series, and indeed probably one of the finest RPGs of all time. And I played it and I loved it to death. It was a fantastic RPG, so good, but I didn't beat it. I'm very ashamed to admit that. It's one of my biggest gaming shames, but I did not beat Persona 4. But I was just basically going on to other games and that, and I was rage quitting over a boss near the end of the game, and I was just like, sod this is way too hard, and I feel so ashamed and stuff, but whatever. Interest for this series didn't come back again until just a few months ago there, when I was sort of saying to myself, you know what, I'm going to force myself to get into a strategy RPG series and force myself to like it. As a result, I went through Fire Emblem. You guys know I went through a Fire Emblem phase there. I've still not beaten a single Fire Emblem game, but I still hold that it's one of my favourite series at this point, to be honest. I think I've made my peace with the strategy RPG genre. You know, I go on about it a lot when I'm talking about Valkyria Chronicles and all that. Maybe I'll make a separate video on that, I don't know, but whatever. I was playing Fire Emblem, and then Nintendo had that Direct, and in that Direct they announced Shin Megami X Fire Emblem, and I remember seeing that, I was like, holy shit! Series that I've just started to get into, and teaming up with a series that I haven't really had any exposure to at all. So thinking about that, I decided to give a few of them a try. Most of the games are actually pretty cheap, but some are pretty damned expensive, as you can see here as I'm about to show you all the games I have. Okay, a majority of, as Atlas hates Europeans, we all know this, most of the games are published by publisher Ghostlight Games, you know, who are kind of on the same level as Rising Star Games in terms of like publishing these sort of like non-mainstream Japanese games that you don't typically find in Europe. You know, you've got all your American publishers like Xseed, Axis, and who's that other one? There's another big one. Well, Atlas, yeah, of course Atlas. And those games, you know, they never make it over here, which is annoying. But publishers like Rising Star Games and Ghostlight do bring them over. So with that said, here are my Shin Megami Tensei games. I guess I'll go for the Persona games first, won't I? Okay, for Persona I have this version, the PSP remake. Was originally released for the PS1, but I'm not too fussed about getting that because it was America only. In fact, this was America only as well, as you can see. You can download this in Europe off the PSN, which is nice, so that's good. But this was our first exposure to the game anyway. But then it went on to Persona 2, and this is actually quite weird because Persona 2 is actually two games, okay? We have Persona 2 Innocent Sin, this was a PSP remake, and Persona 2 Eternal Punishment. They also made a PSP remake of this one, but they didn't release it outside Japan. So these two games together are Persona 2, you know? Which is, again, really nice. You can see that main character. What's her name again? I can't remember. She's on the cover and stuff. She's featured in the game because I've played this for a wee bit. Need to get back to it, actually. But, yeah. The series, the Persona games didn't really pick up until Persona 3 came out, actually. And I do own Persona 3. I also have downloaded on the PSN Persona 3 Portable. I've not played either of them, but I do own them. They're just, the copy is just in the cupboard right now, and I can't be arsed getting it. Sorry, I got interrupted there. As you guys know, I do own the original copy of Persona 4, but I also have this Persona 4 Golden, which is the Vita remake of Persona 4. And when I get back, when I get round to actually beating Persona 4, by the way, I'm gonna play it on this version, I think, because this has more stuff in it, which is really nice. But yeah, that's the Persona series, but there are shit tons more of Shin Megami Tensei series, shit tons more. And the ones I have are, let me get these here. We'll talk about this one first, I suppose. Lucifer's Call. This is actually called Nocturne, Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne in America, and it is essentially Shin Megami Tensei 3. It's part of the main series. I've not played it yet, but looking at the back, it looks pretty familiar, you know, turn-based stuff and all that. And there's Dante from Devil May Cry in there, which is always nice. White-haired Dante as well. I also have Devil Survivor Overclocked, also published by Ghostlight. This game was actually broken when it first came out. It was freezing and stuff. You know, it was hard not to get pissed off, actually. We waited 2 years for this version of the game, because this was a launch title for the 3DS in America. We waited friggin' 2 years for it, and when we get it, it's broken, and you have to download a patch. The patch just came out this week, actually, so you can play it now with ease. I don't know when I'm going to get round to it, but hopefully not too long from here. And there's also a Devil Survivor 2, and they're working on Devil Survivor Overclocked 2. I don't know when and if we're going to get that at all, but whatever, I'll keep my eyes on it. My eyes out for it, I should say. And lastly, we have the games that I've just recently played through. If you've been following me on Twitter, I've been talking about these games a lot, and I just beat them last night, both of them that is. Not in one sitting, that would be stupid. The Digital Devil Saga games, 1 and 2. Yeah, I just like, these were both published by Ghostlight, incidentally. I just picked these at random, really. I'm like, right, I want to start a Shin Megami Tensei game. Let's go with this one, why not? And they're both really, really good. They're very, very addicting RPGs, you know. Good story, good gameplay. And yeah, they really just sort of show you just what Shin Megami Tensei is all about. At least that's the gist I'm getting from them, you know. Really, really hard dungeon crawling style gameplay. And yeah, you need a guide to beat these games, by the way. I don't think I would have beat them if not for using a guide, by the way. You know, just for figuring out monsters' weaknesses, because you got to cast the right spell on them, as well as bosses, you know. It can become a really long and frustrating experience if you're not using any form of outside help. Really cool cover art as well. I really like that. They kind of come together like that, don't they? How nice. But yeah, that's pretty much all I got to say. Okay, that was the shittiest review ever of those games, but they're the only two I've played. Today, I'm going to go on to Persona, actually, because I've never played this one. I would really like to work my way through all the Personas before I go back to Persona 4, you know? In terms of what's in store for Shin Megami Tensei, there are a couple of games that have been announced and are coming out. First and most famous of which is Shin Megami Tensei 4. That'll be coming out September-ish? At least over here, you know. I think America's getting it in July. But at least we're getting it, which is good. There's also Shin Megami Tensei Soul Hackers, which is already out in America, and we are waiting again. And I think it's going to come out around the exact same time as Shin Megami Tensei 4. But whatever, I've got them both pre-ordered and I can't wait for them, you know. So, yeah, I'm really looking forward to that Fire Emblem X Shin Megami Tensei game as well for the Wii U. Also, me and a friend were kind of talking about this. Considering that Atlus and Nintendo are kind of best friends right now, in fact, Nintendo is really taking it upon themselves to publish a lot of Atlus's games, you know? Well, technically, it's NIS America. They're the ones publishing it, but I'm pretty sure Nintendo's funding the publishing or whatever, you know? But wouldn't it be interesting if, me and a friend were talking about this, like I said, wouldn't it be interesting if Persona 5 was a Wii U exclusive? So many Sony fans, so many Persona fans actually would probably be really pissed off by that, but I don't know. I don't think I'd mind that much. I mean, Persona 5 is definitely going to come, and yeah, again, considering Sony and not Sony, Atlas and Nintendo's relationship, you kind of can't help but think about it, you know. But time will tell. Maybe E3, we'll see. But yeah, that's all I've got to say right now. I better end this video now because there's people making stupid noises downstairs. Okay, they stopped just as I remained silent so that you can hear them, but whatever. That's that, guys. Shin Megami Tensei is awesome. I really can't wait to try out more games in the series. They take a lot of commitment. Like, you know, you've really got to put so much time. You've got to be really prepared when you go to sit down and play them, because they're not just games you can play casually, that's for fucking certain. But I like that aspect of them as well. So, yeah. That's that, guys. See you after. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.